You joined me on what started as a lovely sunny day but then quickly turned into a monsoon downpour. Now I am completely soaked, but there's still a big smile on my face, and that's all thanks to this motorcycle. The Brutale 800 is a new entry point into MV Agusta ownership in India, and we're really keen to see if this bike can live up to the fearsome reputation of its predecessor. The previous generation Brutale 800 stands out as one of the most exciting and fearsome experiences I've ever had on two wheels. The bike was tiny, ridiculously fast, and the combination of a short wheelbase and firm suspension meant that it felt quite skittish on our roads. But that bike never made it to India because MV decided to launch the new and significantly improved 2016 model here instead. For the new version, MV took what was already a gorgeous machine and made it even prettier, while retaining the famous silhouette of the original. That means the tight design keeps most of the mass centered around the front, but there are many fresh elements like the new LED headlamp, subtly redesigned fuel tank, and a fresh LCD instrument cluster. But our favorite angle has to be the sleek rear end with that stunning hollowed out underseat section and the cleverly designed rear fender. The signature organ pipe exhaust has grown in size for Euro 4 compliance, but it gets a lovely finish and remains a complete head turner positioned next to the exposed rear wheel. The handlebar is now slightly wider and taller too, which helps retain the compact and sporty riding position while giving the rider extra leverage. It's all put together nicely, but the switchgear feels like it came off a much more affordable machine and could use improvements in terms of quality and ease of use. The new Brutale continues with its 798cc inline 3-cylinder engine layout, but the Manic motor has seen some big changes. For the new version, MV Agusta chose to reduce outright power from the previous 123 horsepower to 109. But there's now more torque and most of it arrives as low as 4000 RPM. The result is a slightly less manic top end but a much harder hitting mid-range, and that means this bike feels just as fast as the old one.
The revised engine has made some improvements in terms of refinement, but continues to generate some buzz in the bars. Heat radiating off the engine at low revs is still quite significant, but it's certainly an improvement over the slow roast that the old model gave your feet in heavy traffic. As for the exhaust, it gets a cleaner and sharper tone while retaining that signature MV rasp and snarl. But this is not an easy machine in less than perfect conditions. Over and above the engine heat, the heavy clutch becomes painful in traffic and the firm suspension is punishing on poor roads.
Adding to the discomfort of the firm suspension on rough roads is the soft seat. Now that might sound counterintuitive, but the reality is this seat is so soft that you quickly sink right down to the hard metal pan below. That gets uncomfortable pretty fast and you will find the need to take a break.
While there's no escaping that the Brutale is clearly unhappy outside of its comfort zone, it turns equally sensational when you take it to the right place. This is, first and foremost, a hard-hitting, pulse-raising sports bike, and it has been engineered to deliver a thrilling experience in that respect.
The new Brutale gets a longer wheelbase for more stability, but this is still a razor-sharp machine. It demands smooth roads and rewards deeply when it finds them. The steering is super quick, the brakes are mighty, and the rush of power is addictive. If you've got the traction control in the lower settings, the front wheel comes right up in first and second gear.
In fact, this is such a sharp and reactive motorcycle that you have to be on your game 100% of the time. Even with a comprehensive electronic safety net which includes switchable ABS, 4 riding modes, 8 levels of traction control and a lovely bi-directional quickshifter, the Brutale is a serious machine that demands respect. The firm suspension gets easily unsettled by mid-corner bumps, and the explosive power is all the more apparent thanks to sharp and sometimes inconsistent throttle response. It's one hell of a thriller, but the Brutale continues to live up to her name and has a low tolerance for inattentiveness or inexperience. The MV Agusta Brutale 800 is a very pretty motorcycle at a very pretty sum of money. At Rs 15.59 lakh ex-showroom, it costs nearly double of some similarly spec bikes like the Kawasaki Z900 and the Triumph Street Triple S. And no, it isn't double the motorcycle. The reason you buy this bike is for the ultra-exclusive MV Agusta brand and the manic performance it has to offer. For those with their heart set on this motorcycle, it's a completely heart-over-head decision, and there can be no other option.